A lot of players take vacations with other players that are close friends. And we'll just take vacations just to take vacations or just hang out just to hang out. Like, I never did that. But it was a
Why not
choice.
though? Why didn't you do that?
Well, because when I retire, I didn't want to have to say, I wish I would have done more. I don't want that. You know? I don't want that.
So, okay, so you come in, it's very powerful what you just said. Some of your peers were in it for the money, so they got the money. Okay, great. Buy a house for my mom, dad wanted that car, get this, get that, have fame, go to different cities, I'm partying, I'm doing all this other stuff. Who were some of the guys that you saw and you watched that weren't just driven by the money? Were there some names that you looked at and says, these three guys are as crazy as I am?
At the time, I deal with what I've referred to as Goat Mountain. I went to Goat Mountain, and I talked to Magic, Michael, Bird, Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell. You know, so I would talk to them. What did you do? What were your experiences? Michael in particular, he's become my big brother. He's been my big brother since I first came in the league. And what was that process like? So I went to them and started understanding the ins and outs of the game and, you know, how they approach things and their level of detail and obsessiveness. And that's what I did.
Why do you think, and first of all, let me ask how it felt, but I'm curious to know why you think as well. How did it feel knowing, like, from the moment you got into the league, the guy at the time is the greatest of all time, everybody wants to be like Mike, Gatorade, all this stuff. The level of respect he had for you when he spoke about you was different than everybody else. And you're an 18, 19-year-old kid at that time.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you heard how he spoke about you?
It made me feel good, but like what I told him, I was like, you didn't say anything I didn't already know, so. You know, so like, I tell you, like when I was in high school, and I used to work out with the 76ers, I used to ask him, you know, what's it like to guard Mike? You go, Mike? You mean Black Jesus? I'm like, what the fuck? Black who? Oh, we call him Black Jesus. Or you can call him Black Cat. I'm like, I'm gonna call him fucking Mike. That's his fucking name. So the level of fear that he inspired in others was insane. Wow. And I would tell him, I said, when I face him, we're gonna go at it. He says, oh, you don't wanna do that. I'm like, what? Man, you don't know me, man. And so when we matched up, I think he understood that. And you know, when I was 18, my first year, he got the best of me a bunch of times. I was right there the next play. You're not intimidating me, yeah. I'm not going anywhere. And I think he saw that level of respect, because I think he was the same way at 18 years old. And that common bond is what I think, you know, where our connection was built.
Yeah, it was great watching you guys going back and forth, whether it was the All-Star game or whether the famous scene where, you know, you're guarding him, he's in front of you, you're asking him a question, there's a question, and he's saying footwork and do this.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful watching that take place with the two of you guys. How's your relationship today?
That was my big brother, man. Like, I can't, you know, it's, we talk often. We send each other Christmas cards every year.
Send each other Christmas cards.
Every year that we have nothing to do with, but, you know, yet and still, you know. But we're extremely close, man.
Extremely?
Extremely close.
That's
extremely
great. That's great. Yeah, you know, it's, as a fan, I'm not in your world. Your world is a whole different world. I just see it from a fan, and I just see it from what experts say. But as a fan, I feel that's exactly how it would be with you and him, because the level of respect from both sides is reciprocal. And it's great to hear that. Going a little bit past it, you know, you came into the league, you start playing. First year, you get traded for Divac, which we were devastated when we lost Vlade Divac. I want you heartbroken when we lost Divac. Okay. I think he got the sarcasm. Some of you guys who don't know basketball, you missed that one. It's kind of one like this. But Kobe shows up. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy. So when you show up, I'm like, oh, no more Sedale trees. We're going to get some real players. Nothing against these guys, but we wanted some entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
So you show up and you play, and there was the one game. I think you started getting a little bit more playing time. I think you did 7.2 points a game because they won't let you play. The coach was just not putting you in there.
Yeah.
Second season was like 15. I bet if you take your first three and you played college, your 25.4 would be a 26.5, 26.6 type of a number.
Yeah.
But your first 3 seasons, then the one game, it's the last game of the season, you play Utah.
Yeah.
The one where you shoot 3 air balls at the end.
5. It was like 5.
And then you hit one and his team doesn't go in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Moses, not Malone, one of the Malones came and spoke to you. I don't know who it was, from the Jazz.
Malone,
He was saying something, you were not even paying attention. Shaq was whispering something in your ear. What did Shaq say to you in that moment?
I don't even know.
You don't remember?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
Got
You know, like it was, you know, like for me, it's maybe it's a little like asshole of me or whatever, but whatever. He was trying to whisper encouraging things. I was like, I'm fucking fine. Okay, I shot 5 air balls on national TV in front of millions of people that cost us the series, and I'm 18. I'm fine, dude.
How do you get there how does somebody get there mentally with that public humiliation? To some people hurts them and they don't come back because, you know, there was a player, Barbosa. I don't know if you remember Barbosa.
Yeah,
of course you remember.
Of course.
He was extremely talented for a quick first step, but they said he wouldn't do well when the spotlight was on him.
Yeah.
How did you get mentally and emotionally so strong where it doesn't bother you?
Well, you know, you got to look at the reality of the situation. You know, like for me, it's not, you know, you kind of got to get over yourself. Like, it's not about you, man. Like, okay, you feel embarrassed. You're not that important. Like, get over yourself.
That's where you go.
Get over yourself, right? Like, you're worried about how people may perceive you, and like you're walking around and it's embarrassing because you shot 5 air balls. Get over yourself, right? And then after that, it's okay, well, why did those air balls happen? Got it. High school, year before, we played 35 games, max, right? Week in between, spaced out. Plenty of time to rest. In the NBA, it's back to back to back to back to back to back to back. I didn't have the legs. So you look at the shot, every shot was online. Every shot was online, but every shot was short. Right? I got to get stronger. I got to train differently. The weight training program that I'm doing, I got to tailor it for an 82-game season so that when the playoffs come around, my legs are stronger and that ball gets there. So I look at it with rationale. And say, okay, well, the reason why I shot air balls is because my legs aren't there. I go, well, next year they'll be there. That was it.
Done. And then what is your process of improvement with your schedule leaving? Because, you know, Phil Jackson gets asked between you and MJ, right? Because he coached both of you guys. So, you know, you constantly gets asked that question.
He's always going to pick the first child.
He's going to pick the first child. But I tell you, he said something about you that to me, it's a level of respect that any player can duplicate what he said about you. To me, the level of respect for that is a whole different level. You can't teach big hands. Right? You cannot teach that, right? You cannot teach 49, 48-inch, whatever the vertical leap is, and you cannot teach that, right?
Sure.
But he said nobody in his history of coaching had your level of work ethic. I mean, you hear so many guys tell stories about your work ethic. What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since, you know, for 20 years. I mean, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Man, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And, but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game and it just never changed.